Hi, friends. I have a book I'd like to share with you. This book is the first book in a series. It's called Henry and Mudge, the first book. It's by Cynthia Riley, and the pictures are by Susie Stevenson. They have a whole series of books about Henry and Mudge, and I really love the series, and I'd like to share the series with you this year. And I'll start with this first one, Henry and Mudge, the first book. It's the first book of their adventures. Henry had no brothers or sisters. I want a brother, he told his parents. Sorry, they said. Henry had no friends on his street. I want to live on a different street, he told his parents. Sorry, they said. Henry had no pets at home. I want to have a dog, he told his parents. Sorry, they almost said. But first they looked at their house with no brothers and sisters. Then they looked at their street with no children. Then they looked at Henry's face. Then they looked at each other. Okay, they said. I want to hug you, Henry told his parents. And he did. Henry searched for a dog. Not just any dog, said Henry. Not a short one, he said. Not a curly one, he said. And no pointed ears. Then he found Mudge. Mudge had floppy ears, not pointed. Mudge had straight fur, not curly. But Mudge was short. Because he's a puppy, Henry said. He'll grow. Look how little he is. And did he ever? He grew out of his puppy's cage. He grew out of his dog cage. He grew out of 7 collars in a row. And when he finally stopped growing, he weighed 180 pounds and stood 3 feet tall, and he drooled. I'm glad you are not short, Henry said. and Mudge licked him and then sat on him. Look how big he is. Henry used to walk alone to school. When he walked, he used to worry about tornadoes and ghosts and biting dogs and bullies. He walked as fast as he could. He looked straight ahead. He never looked back. But now, he walked to school with Mudge. And now when he walked, he thought about vanilla ice cream, rain, rocks, and good dreams. He walked to school, but not too fast. He walked to school and sometimes backwards. He walked to school and patted Mudge's big head, happy. Mudge loved Henry's room. He loved the dirty socks. He loved the stuffed bear. He loved the fish tank, but mostly, he loved Henry's bed. Because in Henry's bed was Henry. Mudge loved to climb in with Henry. Then he loved to smell him. He smelled his lemon hair. He smelled his milky mouth. He smelled his soapy ears and smelled his chocolate fingers. Then he put his head by Henry's head. He looked at the fish tank. He looked at the bear. He looked at Henry. He licked him, and he fell asleep. One day, Mudge took a walk without Henry. The sun was shining. The birds were flying. The grass smelled sweet. Mudge just couldn't wait for Henry, so he left. He went down one road, sniffing the bushes, and then down another road, kicking up dust. He ran through a field, across a stream, and into some pine trees. And when he came out on the other side, he was lost. He couldn't smell Henry. He couldn't smell his front porch. He couldn't smell the street he lived on. Mudge looked around, all around, and he didn't see anything or anyone he knew. He whined a little, alone without Henry. Then he lay down, alone without Henry. He missed Henry's bed. Henry thought Mudge would be with him always. He thought Mudge made everything safe. He thought Mudge would never go away. And when Mudge did go away, when Henry called and called, but Mudge didn't come, Henry's heart hurt, and he cried for an hour. But when he finished crying, Henry said, "Mudge loves me. He wouldn't leave. He must be lost." So Henry walked and walked. He called and called, and he looked and looked for his dog Mudge. He walked down one road and then down another road. The sun shone as Henry ran through a field, calling and calling. The birds flew past as he stood beside a stream, calling and calling. And then the tears began to fall again, and he looked at the empty pine trees for his lost dog. "Mudge!" he called out one last time. And Mudge woke up from his lonely sleep, then came running. Every day when Henry woke up, he saw Mudge's big head, and every day when Mudge woke up, he saw Henry's small face. They ate breakfast at the same time. They ate supper at the same time. And when Henry was at school, Mudge just laid around and waited. Mudge never went for a walk without Henry again, and Henry never worried that Mudge would leave. Because sometimes in their dreams, they saw the long, silent roads and the big, wide fields, deep streams and pine trees. In those dreams, Mudge was alone and Henry was alone. So when Mudge woke up and he knew Henry was with him, he remembered the dream and stayed closer. And when Henry woke up and knew Mudge was with him, he remembered the dream and the looking and the calling and the fear, and he knew he would never lose Mudge again. I hope you enjoyed learning about Mudge and Henry and Mudge and getting to know them and getting to know their super, super close friendship and bond that they have. I loved it. I'll be sure to read you more stories of Henry and Mudge as the year goes on.